Hey, you guys, welcome back to the channel. We got another episode of Married at First Sight UK, episode number 4 to talk about. And yeah, we have a non-filtered, cringy groom and yeah, some very, very interesting in-laws, and we got to talk about it. Welcome back to Romance Review TV. It's Lady T. Got another recap for you guys, and without any further ado, let's go ahead and unpack this episode. So we had 8 singles, 4 couples that are now on a honeymoon, and we got 2 more to wed in this episode. And the first one we're going to start with is Tasha and Paul. Now, let's talk about Tasha first. Now, Tasha seems like a very down-to-earth young lady. However, she is single. It's just her and her dog right now. And the interesting thing about her is that when she get out to party, she can be a wild child. Now, on the flip side, we got Paul. Paul has a very, very strict mom who he is close to, even though he is very athletic. He likes to get out there with that punching bag and work out. He also is looking to be married. Now, he seemed to be serious. He comes from a very cultured background, a very religious background, especially with his parents. And one thing about this particular couple, this is the youngest couple this season as well. Now, the interesting thing is they had to tell their parents, family, and friends that they are part of a social experiment where they're marrying a stranger. And it was a struggle for Paul to break the news to his mom because his mom wasn't having it at first. She said that how can she accept the fact that she don't even know who he is marrying to? She threatened not to even come to the wedding. However, for Tasha, when she talked to her mom, even though her mom was shocked, she was very supportive. So now we come down to their actual wedding day, and again, the venue did not disappoint. He was really, really concerned on whether his mom would show up, and lo and behold, she did. She did show up. She kind of sounded like they forced her to show up, like she didn't have a choice. But nevertheless, she's there. As we head over to the venue, he is preparing to see his wife come down the aisle for the first time. And when he turned around, he was excited. He was actually blown away to find that the woman that they matched him with was actually somebody that he was attracted to. And it seemed like she was attracted to him as well, which is a good thing. So we got the chemistry and the physicality out the way. As they started talking and, they gave each other a kiss on the cheek, they were excited to move forward in the process. They couldn't even stop smiling at each other. So it seemed like so far so good, it's going well. Now, of course, his mom is sitting in that corner brooding, but they were able to get through their vows and, read and say everything. And so, I actually like this particular couple so far next to Jay and Luke. And they finally get their kiss out of the way because at first I think they were going to kiss on the cheek, but then, you know what? They went for it. And so they headed off to the reception. So now they got a chance to take their couples pictures, and they seem to be vibing really well. We didn't see any awkwardness between the two of them. She did ask about his mom, and he was cringing. And so it now gets to the point where, it's time to just go ahead and rip off the Band-Aid and let the conversation happen. So it was at a point where she did finally get a chance to sit down with his mom, and his mom didn't cut any corners with her. She was like, look, I don't know who you are. This is my son. You're a stranger. But once she mentioned that she was in religion, that was the triggering point that she was happy about. So it seemed like after the conversation about religion, she was able to be a little bit more accepting to Tasha. And so, wow, that was a switch. Now, I'm wondering, did they pump all of this up for drama and the mom was in on it? But at this point, it seemed like they're both happy about the fact that they were able to get past this point. They actually hugged it out, which, hey, that's a good thing. And I know Paul was surprised because he didn't know what to expect from what we understand when it comes to her and his mom. He had a moment talking about his best friend. She was very supportive. And then they just danced their way out of the reception. And they really, really looked good together. And they sealed it with a kiss at the end of the night. Our second couple this episode is Peggy and George. Now, Peggy, even though she is a girly girl and she tends to be like little Miss Prissy, she is very, very traditional according to her, especially because her parents have been married for over 40 years. And she has this whole Disney fairy tale in her mind about the Prince Charming that's going to sweep her off her feet and be just like her parents when they got married 40 years ago. So she was hoping for that same type of marriage. Then we got George. George is this guy from France, carry a lot of bravado. He is very outspoken. He has no filter, and he just does like what comes up, comes out. Whether he is licking a glass, he's flexing his muscles, making faces. He is definitely a wild card when it comes to George. And it's kind of like a level of immaturity, in my opinion, and I think he's 30 years old. So one of the questions that the experts ask him is why all the bravado? And she actually said that you're hiding something, you're covering up something. He didn't respond to that. It's time for the wedding. He's down at the end of the aisle. I would say the mom was very pleased by him when Peggy got down the aisle to meet her new groom, because remember, she's waiting on Prince Charming. When he turned around, she was happy about the choice that they picked. She was blunt. She actually thought that this guy is her Prince Charming, and he was smiling. He's definitely happy about what he saw, because one of the things that he saw or that he said is that he wanted someone that was heavy in the cleavage area. And so he was definitely mentioning that. They actually sealed the deal after vows with the kiss, and then they headed on back down the aisle again to head to the reception. Now, this reception gets a little sticky. Why? Because he has a sister-in-law that is not having it at all. And she brings him to task when they have this conversation.
Yeah, this is mental, isn't it? I'm just thinking.
Not too hard. I feel like you need to be patient, because you'll see the showy side sometimes, and you have to look past that.
That's good to know.
Because if you don't, he could annoy you.
Be a decent guy. Like, she's my baby, so I want to be the protective sister. So, her getting married to a stranger, that was like a massive thing for me. And then got nothing to go on.
And just trust
And then now I want to have something to go on. I don't like that. You talking to me. Don't wink at no one else. That's rude.
Yeah, it is rude. Sorry.
She deserves it. Like,
I can
literally.
tell.
Like,
I promised her. I said we're gonna have a good time. I promise you.
it's not just about a good time, though.
No, of course, but it's the start of a beautiful adventure.
Tonight, though, you're going to go off with Peggy, so what are your intentions?
She leads. It's not my place to lead.
It is the first night you've only just met each other.
Of course,
so
but it's not my place to lead.
you don't expect Peggy to do anything
No,
out of the
course I
ordinary. OK, but then you are telling me what I want to hear.
Oh, I'm not here to feed anything to you.
That conversation was heavy on both sides. And I mean, the thing is, they consider him having man-child behavior after everything that was said. And we'll talk about that a little further with his friend. But the other thing is, she was trying to press him for what's going to happen on the wedding night. And he answered appropriately by saying, look, I'm going to let her take the lead. And she kept saying other things to kind of push the whole thing as if she was trying to get a specific answer out of him. And he kept saying, it's going to be on her. It's not my decision. It's up to her. It's her leading the way on what we decide to do. And then she just flat out said, you know what? I don't know you, so I cannot trust you. And then finally, to make things worse, the best man speech. Now, I don't know if this is George's best friend, but when the best friend got up there to speak, it made everything worse. I mean, he talks about the story where he pooped in his pants, and the dad was like, whoa, what is this? And then the fact that even though he was being honest, the way he spoke on George about the fact that his straightforwardness can end up being an annoyance, you know that didn't sit well with the bride, and especially not her sister. And they kind of just left us with that cliffhanger, as you know, they don't come back until Sunday night. So we got to stay tuned to see what's going to happen at this point with this particular couple, because I can tell you right now, this is not looking good at all. Okay, so let's get the conversation started down in the comment section. What do you think about our two newest couples? I gotta say, when it comes to Tasha and Paul, I'm actually liking them. I'm putting them in number 2 next to Jay and Luke. As for when it comes to George and Peggy, I don't think that's going to be a no-go. Unless something changes over that honeymoon, I think he's going to say something to put his foot in his mouth if he don't kind of dial back his man-child behavior, because her dreams of Prince Charming is about to come crashing down. So I hope you enjoyed this recap. Stay tuned for other recaps and updates on this channel. And until the next video, like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll see you next time. Bye.